Hello, buddy. Senior engineer, MBA, and investor. And today's video, I want to talk about this CRISPR ranking. Of course, this is from Biotech 2K1 and famous user in our channel at this point. He or she posted the following rankings: 12 companies, CRISPR companies rankings. 1 Beam, 2 NTLA, 3 Mammoth, 4 Sherlock, 5 CRISPR Therapeutics, 6 Caribou, 7 Scribe, 8 Prime, 9 Harbor, 10 Verve, 11 Editas, and 12 Graphite Bio. So, of course, this is a surprise for a couple of reasons. First of all, first of all, I do want to mention one thing. Any of these rankings that you look at, you can probably make an argument for each of these rankings, right? Unless you're literally just scrambling through random companies. At that point, you're just not really taking this seriously. But of course, Biotech 2K1 here would not have posted a ranking here without seriously considering which company is over which company, right? Because that's really what a ranking is all about, right? When you're ranking companies up, and I think it's not really about who's number 1 or who's number 12. It's about who's over which company, right? In my opinion, anyways. And of course, you see here Beam as number 1, NTLA as number 2. You got 5 at CRISPR Therapeutics, 6 at Caribou, 8 at Prime, 10 at Verve, 11 at Editas, and 12 at Graphite Bio. And the company that the name is because they're private: Mammoth, Sherlock, Scribe, and Harbor. So, first of all, like, I understand as a scientist, as a technologist, when we talk about the best CRISPR companies, you're going to bundle all these companies together, right? It makes total sense because you're looking at the science, you're looking at the potential in the future, you're looking at the leaderships and so on. But the reality of the thing is, when you're a retail investor, such as myself, such as most of you watching this channel, it's really unfair to be bundling private and public companies together for numerous of reasons. First of all, as a private company, you don't even have to disclose all the information. So already there you see there's limited information. Second of all, as a public company, you have to disclose all sorts of information. So already there you have an unfair advantage. This is extremely important to consider because now you have a company like CRISPR Therapeutics, number 5, being ranked below number 4 and number 3, Mammoth and Sherlock, respectively. And of course, I don't agree with that, right? I don't agree with putting private companies on top of public companies because they're private companies for a reason. I mean, they're a private company because they're raising cash from the private investors there, from VCs, and that's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you go public, you have to obviously disclose all sorts of information. You have not just the SEC and other organizations look at your company, but retail investors have really all exposure to your company. Every quarter you have to disclose how much cash you're burning, how much cash in the balance sheet, how much are the revenue deals that you're bringing in, and so on, licensing revenues and so on. So there's so much public information, and honestly, that's perfect. As a public company, as a retail investors, I want that as a public company. If I'm going to invest in these companies, I want to be really having a look inside the company as opposed to just marketing fluff, right? So that's completely fine. But then you see this list here, and biotech is putting Mammoth, Sherlock, and those are great companies. Don't get me wrong. They're great companies, great technology. Look, I'm a huge fan of Mammoth, right? I'm a huge fan of Mammoth. But it's completely unfair to put CRISPR Therapeutics and Caribou, Verve Therapeutics below Mammoth. I mean, it really is. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Mammoth. I understand the whole editing technology with whatever they're doing with Cas5. I love how they're into diagnostics there. They already got emergency use from the FDA during the pandemic for one of their hardware for diagnostics. So clearly they're ahead of a lot of these companies in a sense, but they're a private company. And until they don't go public, to me, they're never going to be in the same list as these public companies, right? So that's my first comment about the list. Again, you can make an argument for each of these rankings that you look at. My argument is that you shouldn't be bundling private companies with public companies unless you specifically state out that, I'm doing this consciously and obviously, we recognize that the public company has a lot more stakes and there's a lot more to learn from public companies than private companies, right? So that's my first argument. My second argument in this list, if you just eliminate the private companies here, you just look at the public companies, I would not put Beam Therapeutics number one. I think everything else I'd probably keep it. I would put Beam actually at number 3 behind NTLA and CRISPR Therapeutics. I have a hard time putting Beam Therapeutics in front of NTLA and CRISPR Therapeutics, knowing fully well that Beam Therapeutics has not dosed a single patient. They, if anything, they're probably one of the worst in terms of what's going on with the FDA right now. The FDA has put a hold on Beam 201. None of these companies that you're looking at, including the private companies, have been put a hold by the FDA for any of these programs. Granted, it's only an IND submission. And look, guys, I'm an investor for Beam Therapeutics, so I say it the way it should be said. I mean, if you guys don't think I'm saying the right things to support one of the companies you invested in, just know that I also invested in Beam Therapeutics. But I am transparent with you guys. I want to be open to you guys. This is what I've always preached on my channel. I don't really care about followers count. I don't really care about all of that. What I care is about getting that information to you guys. And if anything, Beam Therapeutics cannot be number one based on the fact that the FDA has put the hold on Beam 201. Whether that's on the FDA, whether the FDA is complex, like I made a video on yesterday's video, 2 days ago, I made a video on the FDA. And look, I'm not a fan of the FDA, right? But ultimately, out of all these companies, Beam Therapeutics is the worst when it comes to the FDA approach to it, right? The FDA has put a hold on Beam 201. NTLA has 2 successful CRISPR programs. I put them as number 1. Number 2, I would put them as CRISPR Therapeutics, because CRISPR Therapeutics is just amazing at what they're doing right now. They're probably going to be the first CRISPR company having an FDA program approved. Of course, looking at CTX001. I would definitely put Caribou next. Prime, Verve, Editas, Graph, Bio, at that point, it becomes semantics. I'm not sure. Like, I would probably keep that ranking there. Especially with what happened with Verve recently. I would definitely keep it below Prime, but we'll see what happens, guys. We'll see what happens. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about my comments. My first argument, of course, about bundling private and public companies. But then my second argument about how Beam Therapeutics has no place being number 1, considering they are being basically red flagged by the FDA right now. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Do subscribe if you found value. Of course, like it, as always. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a beautiful, beautiful Saturday. Thank you.